you looking to optimize your mindset and lifestyle for success in today's business world? You're in the right place. This is where you get to build your freedom through promoting through Facebook and selling on Amazon. Welcome to Actualize Freedom with your hosts, Wilson and Danny.
Okay, we got her going. We are live and ready to rock. This is the inaugural live episode of the Actualize Freedom podcast, all about learning how to sell on Amazon and just how to optimize your life for the e-commerce lifestyle.
Exactly.
So my name is Danny Carlson.
And my name is Wilson Lee. Today we're going to be telling you about my story of how I started on Amazon and what kind of mindset shift I had that allowed me to make more than 10K a month now, which is pretty crazy. It's actually my second month and I'm like, wow, I'm super blown away. Nonetheless, a little reminder that show notes can be found at actualizefreedom.com/9. That you can grab all your show notes and yeah, everything's going to be there for you. So how did I get started? I still remember I was actually before doing this episode, I was doing some backtracking to figure out, okay, when did I get started? It was actually 2 years ago on June the 1st, 2016. That was when I started my first ASM course, ASM 5, which is pretty cool.
Like so many people get into it, the Amazing Seller Machine. There's a massive, massive company, by the way. But continue.
Yeah, so basically my motive of getting started was not making money. At that time, I actually have two businesses that I was running, which were doing decently well. My whole motive of getting started on Amazon was really trying to find something for my girlfriend to do. She's been breathing down my neck the whole time about, like, hey, Wilson, let's go travel. Hey, Wilson, let's do this. Let's go on a date night. Let's do this and that. And I'm like, dude, I'm busy running my two businesses. Why don't we find you a hobby, right? And
that is the most entrepreneur thing to do. Find something for your girlfriend to do. Most guys would be like, oh, why don't you pick up yoga or like knitting or something like that? And you're like, hey, I got this business that you can go start.
Exactly.
Here's how you do it.
Which is crazy. I'm like, dude, I know that business takes up majority of my time. So I'm like, yo, what can I get my girlfriend to do at that time to really occupy her? Because she does her 9 to 5. She goes home, watches her Kim Kardashians and, Jersey Shore at the time. And it's just crazy. And it's just like making me go insane. So I'm like, okay. And one of my friends was in the e-com business and I felt that it was a good opportunity for her because you really don't need to deal with too much, right? Everything is you can deal with on your laptop and whatnot. And she's Asian as well, so she can really communicate with the suppliers. So I thought at that time it would be like perfect for her and perfect for me when it occupies her time. So we spent the whole weekend going through the ASM course. At that time, everything was just so like foreign to me. Like the concept of e-com and the concept of what is selling on Amazon, what is PPC campaign, what is optimization. Everything is just so foreign. So that was it. That's how we got started.
Totally. So and your girlfriend had zero marketing experience, like doesn't know what, Facebook ads or a click-through rate or any of this stuff is.
No,
totally fresh.
We both had zero knowledge in this whole internet space. Zero. My background comes from doing business with like trading. I did a lot of selling not online, but selling retail products and food and beverage. So that's kind of my background. So I do a lot of sourcing from China. So dealing with suppliers is not an issue for me. So that's where my comfort zone is. And yeah, so, ASM, they tell you to find products that you're interested in. And so at that time, my girlfriend's like, okay, let's do some lashes. Let's do some, curling hair comb. You've seen those, like when you go to the malls, they have this fork and you put your hair in it and it just curls your hair naturally. It's some magnetic random crap shit. Super popular and whatnot. But then there's this knockoff version of it, which is like a comb. So you don't really need to like sandwich your hair with it. It's just basically brushing through your hair in order for you to straighten it. So I thought it was a really cool idea. So I actually went back to China at that time to source inventory for my other business. And at that time I visited a few different factories to get her the samples, which was really cool. So I got her some lashes and I got her some of those like electric comb.
There really is a gadget for everything.
There is. It's funny because I took a taxi an hour away from where I was sourcing in Guangzhou. And when I was there, basically this whole city was on hair and makeup products, right? And it was like humongous. It took me a good day just to walk around this whole place, and we're talking about just one mall for one day. And I know, like, when I'm looking across the street, I see like 3 different other malls. So I'm like, wow, this is freaking intense.
It really is absurd. Yeah. I mean, my only experience with that is the Yiwu Market, which is, to put this in perspective, that's 1,250 square miles of market. That's in one single building, which is like real. Well, I mean, there are several buildings, but they're all connected together. Like, it's hard to even imagine how actually huge that is.
You can't. It's just crazy. But yeah, so basically I got all the samples, brought it back to her. She didn't like any of them, and she's just like, "Hey, Wilson, you're doing bad in like sourcing materials and stuff." I'm like, "Why don't you go yourself, huh?" So basically, we put that aside for a couple weeks, and obviously she's been watching a lot of Kim Kardashian, and at that time, Kim came out with this illuminated iPhone 6 case where there are 2 LED strips on the side of the iPhone case. So it allows you to take the perfect selfie because it lights you up like an O-ring. And that's what Kim was using. And Cass was like, my girlfriend's name is Cass, now my wife. So she's like, oh my God, this iPhone case would kill it online. Let's do this. And we didn't even order a sample.
Totally fresh. Didn't even know what you were doing.
We didn't know what we were doing, and she was just like, yo, this is gonna be the next $1 million idea. Let's just order, Wilson, because otherwise we're gonna miss the boat, because everyone is on this stuff. It's not on Amazon yet, and so like speed is of the essence.
Oh, I just got to say right now that is exactly what's happening in cryptocurrency right now. You guys are going to hate on me for saying this. I have some cryptocurrency as well, but the space is just flooded with FOMO, fear of missing out, hardcore. There's smart investors, but there's a lot of dumb investors out there dumping money into it. I just had to mention that.
Dude, crypto. Don't even talk about it.
We'll get off crypto. We'll stop talking about crypto.
I'm starting to hate you now. Oh my goodness. That's a different combo. But yeah, like it's been crazy. Like, and for her, once she knows she wants something, she's like, I'm going all in. So we didn't even order a sample. Oh, I guess the thing is, it's because I was the one that was funding the thing. So for her, it was just like, yo, let's just do it. Wilson, fund for this. And I'm like, okay, like, you know what? It's your interest. She's been off my back for the last 2-3 weeks. I'm like, I'm happy. I'll fund for this, right? So right off the bat, we ordered 400 different units. We had 2 different variations. And she was actually the one that did all the optimization for the post, found all the pictures. She was smart. She didn't even take pictures of the phone. She asked the supplier for all the pictures to post on the listing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like honestly, I myself wasn't really into this whole e-com business and this whole Amazon thing at that time. It was mainly because I wanted her to have something for herself. And I really wanted her to be able to occupy her time aside from the 9 to 5, because it's very difficult if you are an entrepreneur and your other half that you see all the time is just really enjoying life and just taking it easy. It's very difficult, right? Because you're always hustling. You want to be, self-improving all the time and self-developing all the time, reading. Yet she's on TV watching Kim Kardashian, and you're like, oh my God, like, kill me now. Like, what is this thing? It's killing my brain cells, right? So you want to be able to lift the people around you as well. So that's kind of my motive. And I wasn't into it, and I was only into it because of her. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. It's, I had one of my ex-girlfriends, I had a big issue with that. And it's like, at a certain point, it becomes escapism. I'm all for watching some kind of Netflix and stuff like that. But if you're spending several hours every single day watching Kim Kardashian and Jersey Shore, and it doesn't even look like you're having fun when you could be like learning something. You could be learning a new skill. It could be reading a book. Could be doing something fun, going to yoga class or whatever it is. I totally feel you on that point.
Totally. And well, there's one thing that I've accepted is that everyone is different and everyone finds satisfaction and self-fulfillment in different ways. Like, we speak the same language because we're entrepreneurs. but other people might like the laid back lifestyle, and that's who they really are. So I'm actually okay with it now, because the more I'm like, okay, you know what, I get it. This is you, and this you truly enjoy it, just enjoying your time. I'm totally cool with it now. So just need to accept another perspective is what I came to conclusion with.
That's an insight that I'm guessing came after your 10-day meditation retreat that you did in December there.
This is crazy. Just being okay with everything, right? No craving, no miseries. Yeah, so, fast forward a few months later, the products actually arrived. And we actually shipped the first product back to ourselves before we shipped it to Amazon, because that's what the ASM course was teaching. You need to look at this stuff, which at that time I felt was kind of dumb. And the reason why I felt it was dumb was because the products came, it was packaged and everything was good to go. Cass looked at one, she's like, oh, cool, a new toy to put on my phone. And she didn't even look at the rest of the items. She's like, hey, Wilson, now bring this to the post office and send it back to the Amazon fulfillment centers.
Uh-oh.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh my God, another few $100 that I need to send. Luckily, like the iPhone cases are relatively small. So the box I think at that time it was like four like relatively big size box, but it wasn't like too much. Right. So yeah, we sent it to Amazon. First few days were pretty cool. We're so stoked. We're just looking at the sales come through, and at that time we were allowed to give out iPhone cases for reviews, and they were still okay with it. So we gave out a bunch. We got a bunch of reviews, which was awesome. And from there onwards, sales started to trickle in one at a time actually, and we actually didn't do any PPC campaigns. I think at that time her attention span was gone already. So she
back to the Kim Kardashian.
Exactly, right? She's like, okay, you know what? Reviews are done. Okay, boom. Like, great. Now I completed this project, right? Sales are coming in one at a time, and I'm done with this whole PPC campaign, keyword optimization, and everything. I'm just done with it. So, like for us, we started kind of going back to our daily routine, and day in, day out. Eventually we didn't even log in to see the sales at all. And we just stuffed it aside. And we both kind of forgot about this. Life kind of took us back. Yeah, so that was 2016 in June.
I'd imagine at some point you just run out of inventory, right? Or you just you weren't even monitoring, do I have to reorder? Do I have to, monitor the listings, tweak it, were you even responding to customer emails or anything like that?
Not at all. We created an email specifically for this Amazon project. We didn't check it. For me, my interest was not in Amazon back then. I was really focused on my current businesses that I was building. And for her, it was more of a project where she wants to find something that she really enjoys. And she did. And we were selling it online. Sales were trickling in one at a time. And so I guess the fad was gone, right? It wasn't as good as what we want it to be, where, we're selling 10, 20, 30 a day, and we're seeing hundreds and hundreds of dollars rolling in. So it mattered, right? But when we're selling 10, 20 bucks a day, and it's just oh, cool. Is this it? Come on. Running PPC, how much more can I make? So at that point in time, things are just okay, I guess, this project is done. And we just left it at that.
Yeah, because, you're comfortable. You're making good coin off your other businesses that you have established. There's not really any hunger, any need to actually go after and create this new line of business. After all, it was created to basically as a hobby for your wife.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And I think that's why it was never successful. It never took off. I never really gave it a good chance for it to succeed because my mindset was different.
But at the same time, do you think that it was valuable to learn some of those initial mistakes? You mentioned, not even ordering samples. You weren't doing PPC, you weren't doing all of these things. So at the very least, it sounds to me like you're able to figure out some of the early mistakes on a smaller scale that you can now apply to, actual real scale with your Amazon products.
Funny enough, logically speaking, yes, there would be a lot of takeaways for me, but honestly, after this whole thing and when I relaunched and when I was like jumping head in first into Amazon now, I couldn't say I have learned too much. A lot of things are like, because into internet world and ecom, things are changing like day to day. Right now, when I was launching a product, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's get us some reviews, and then I figured out that you cannot get reviews by giving away free products. And I'm like, oh my god, like, dude, it worked like a charm before. Now what do I do? Right? So there's a lot of things that I am like, oh, that I'm still learning as we're speaking, and you know, if it was my business, of course I'll order a sample. If it was my business, I'll definitely run marketing campaigns. So these are things that are not a painful lesson. I guess for me, it wasn't a painful lesson. It was like you said, I have my other businesses that are sustaining myself, and this was much more of a hobby thing that I built together with her. And she's actually the one that spent the most time on it. I was just on the side supporting her.
Yeah, okay, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, so now we're sitting at summer 2016.
Yes.
Or after you got all the products sourced. So I mean, there's a gap. So like after you lulled off, you know, you guys kind of let it coast for a while. How long was it until you decided it's like, oh, hey, maybe there's actually something to this Amazon e-commerce thing?
Well, I think it was a year later. It was when my other businesses they were doing decent, but they were plateauing. And I remember just having a drink and just watching TV, and I'm just thinking like, dude, like, you know, 5 years later, my two businesses would be gone. You know, if it's at this rate, like, you know, other new businesses are going to take over. And at that time, I was just thinking about the future of the industries that I'm in. Like, are there any future to it? Like, I'm currently in the event planning, branding business, and also food and beverage. So those are my businesses, and I'm just thinking about how difficult my day-to-day are, right? Like, it consumes all my time. And on top of that, you know, food and beverage, the margins are slim, the scalability is low, high rent, and everything is just so not working in our favor. And it was then that I was thinking, like, what else can I do? What is going to be my next project that I'm going to be able to make it? And that's when the e-com thing kind of came back up to mind and surfacing, because I've been shopping on Amazon on a daily basis. So I really enjoy the Prime, where I order something and the next day it comes. Even in Canada, like, it's pretty cool. Right, like my staff and my colleagues, they're always like, Wilson, why the hell you have a shopping problem? Like, look at all the
Bob showing
boxes.
up every day from Amazon.
Yeah, and it's just like these random stuff. Like, I like buying books. I don't like Kindle. I like the physical product. Like, I love it. So I like buying a lot of the new books that come out.
Totally, and even Kindle is just Amazon anyways too.
Yeah, exactly, right? Dude, they dominate. So yeah, so then I just think that, you know, e-com is definitely the way of the future. And at that time, I've been hearing a lot more about how people are able to scale. I'm not really drawn to the fact that people are successful per se, making like 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month. I'm not drawn to that. I'm drawn to the fact that it's scalable. That's what I'm drawn to, because I guess that's the biggest pain point with my businesses, that it's very, very difficult to scale. If you, like, currently we have a dessert shop, we have 4 different franchises, and for us to scale to, let's say, 20 to 100 different franchises, the amount of difficulty and the time that it takes, we're talking about like 7 to 10 years if we're lucky, and if we can sustain what we're doing. Now, in a matter of 10 years, I'm pretty sure I can figure this whole e-com thing out in order for me to be able to scale to more than, you know, a 7-8 figure business. And I truly believe in that, because, you know, it took me 3 years to scale my event planning business to seven figures. You know, it took me a year to sell 4 different franchises. So I'm like, dude, Wilson, you gotta be in something that is in your flow, right? So then you use the least amount of effort and to be as the maximize in terms of the returns, right? Mm-hmm. So that's when I really kind of was like, okay, you know what, e-com is the way to go. And we even lost the password for our emails and our Amazon login. I was just asking Cass, I was just like, hey, can you dig up the password? And it took us a few hours to figure it out because we need to authorize. We forgot everything about this whole business. So once I logged back in, we figured that, you know, like what you're saying, one of our SKUs, we were out of inventory, and our other one was actually not selling at all because we didn't press the right button or something. So
just something totally rookie mistake that's not paying attention.
Oh my goodness. It was just like, what is going on? We didn't sell a single unit of this variation, which is we had one in rose gold and one in black for our case. So the rose gold was sold out, and the black one didn't sell a single unit. So so then I dove back in the industry and then saw that we have 200 cases left. And at that time, Apple was coming out with the new iPhone 7 and the iPhone X. So we're like, oh my goodness, we better liquidate this whole product. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with like 200 different iPhone cases that are like out of trend, right? So I basically just lowered the price to liquidate everything and just got our money back.
A smart move. For sure. Because, stuff like technology moves so fast that, if you don't have the newest iPhone case or whatever it is, then good luck selling those for 50 cents down the road. You know what I mean?
Totally, right? So then I'm like, dude, I just need to make the decision to do it right away. And I think it might be difficult for others to lower the price to half because this is their bread and butter. This is all their savings. For me, I'm standing from a different standpoint where this is my hobby. We forgot about this. This is a bonus, right? So I think it's the strategy and the mindset is a little bit different, which allows me to be a little bit more fortunate to take on strategies that are different from other people. Right?
Totally. I think that's so powerful because I meet a lot of people and talk to a lot of people that are they're first-time Amazon sellers, and they've invested maybe a little bit more money than they're really comfortable investing, and that really shows in, you know, their mindset. So they start doing things that are actually hurting them because they're so scared of making a mistake that it actually makes them more likely to make all these mistakes, which is the crazy thing, you know, like cutting corners, like trying to keep costs on photography like way down, or, you know, like software, like maybe skipping some software that can actually help them out a lot, or they don't want to do a promotion, or they turn on pay-per-click and they're like, oh no, it's costing too much money, and then they shut it off right away. You know, these are things that people coming from a mindset of like unease and scarcity.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to start making these mistakes. I see it all the time with new sellers.
Yeah, and I think coming from a place of abundance is much more of a healthier place and mindset to be. And I think that comes from back to the crypto thing, right? Like,
absolutely.
In a mindset of abundance, you don't need to sell, and the day that you sell is the day that you lose. So I mean, like the market took a big hit nowadays. So if you don't sell and you can, you know, weather the storm, and if it's not the money that you need, then it's okay. You haven't lost yet. So, I mean, just coming from a place of abundance is very, very important.
Totally. Yeah, it's great that you could start out with a way like that.
Yeah. So, you know, after we liquidated, I went back head in first into this. I actually got a partner to help me out with this, a colleague. So he's been working on it, I would say, twice a week. And I've been working on it, like, I would say around 2 times a week as well. And since September, we first sourced our new product, and we've been selling. We've actually missed the whole Q4. The product didn't come in until the early January, which is kind of like shitty, like actually very shitty, because we're like, damn it, like we ordered everything hoping that it would come in just in time for Black Friday and the Christmas time and everything, but the product didn't come in until early January. So basically we missed a big pot.
And totally. That's a lesson I learned my first year selling as well, was that, you know, everything around Christmas moves way slower.
Yeah.
You know, you can expect your shipment, you know, just say your lead time is 20 days in the summertime, well, you can expect 40 days nearing Christmas. And like shipping too. Shipping delays can be over a month delayed. Like, that's fairly common. You know, these shipping companies get totally racked up. The prices for shipping go way up. Yeah, Christmas is nuts, man.
It's not a good time to start. And I think, you know, you as, like, if you're a noob coming into this game, like, we shouldn't start in the Q4. We actually should start in Q1 to learn the skill set that's necessary for us to be able to kill it in Q4 because everyone's super competitive. All the the bids would be much higher. So if you don't know what you're doing, you can easily outspend your PPC campaign with no results. Fast forward a month, we are actually in our first month. We're already at 10K in sales, which is pretty cool. When we thought that this product was a total dud.
Heck yeah, man! Just goes to show that you never really know. I've found that like my intuition on products has been like totally off. Like I've sourced like 5 products at once before, and my assumptions were totally wrong. The ones that I thought were like I don't know about this one were the top sellers, and then some of the ones that I was so sure were going to be killers and hits just flopped. Totally flopped. Just ended up liquidating them, right?
Yeah, and it's been crazy. So I mean, I definitely want to share a lot more about my 10K in sales journey, which is pretty interesting, I would say, because we're about to pull the plug on this product. We're like, okay, it's not going to work, but we just let time take its course and just really see the results. And we're like, oh my God, we're just doing everything that we need to do. That all the resources for you to succeed is online. And you just need to be able to follow through with it. And we're talking about like 2 guys working part-time 2 days a week on this project for 10K sales. I'm like, dude, it's doable. There's like a lot of people are complaining about the fact that, Amazon is saturated nowadays. It doesn't work, whatever it is. In my opinion, everything works. It's just a matter of how it works and whether it works for you. Right?
No, absolutely. Yeah, your own personal skill set, your own personal work ethic. It's a lot of variables here.
For sure, yeah. And I think, the biggest takeaway for me in running this business is the mindset. And what I mean by that is I realize that every project that I touch and every project that I've been working on, I fail when I dabble. Like there's a lot of different opportunities out there and whatnot. When like 2016 June was a perfect time for me to be like actually succeeding and doing really well on Amazon, but I chose to dabble in it. That's the reason why it was not successful. Right? So having the mindset to be able to focus on this project and truly believe in it and following through with all the actions, really paying your dues. By you doing that, you're going to be able to see results.
I agree with that sentiment 100%. Yeah,
Totally.
every major failure can usually be traced back to it's like, it's a little side project. You're just not coming in with the right mindset, right? Because if you have the mindset that you are in this and you are doing it, when the bad shit happens, you're just going to push through it. You're going to figure it out. You're not just going to be like, screw this. I'm going to go work on something else. Or like, this is it. I'm not going to make it through this. Because you will find a way. But only with that mindset, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, for the people that are hearing this right now, fix your mindset, right? This is not something that you're going to get rich off quick, right? It takes time to build. And if you are wanting to build a business, any business takes time to build. Like, you buy a Subway franchise, it takes you 3 years to get your money back, right? Like, you're in the reds for 3 years and you're investing like, what, 500K?
Yeah, a lot of those owners are in there making sandwiches themselves just to speed that process up a little bit, right?
For 3 years, it's crazy. And then when we hear the stories of, hey, you know what, you own 5 different Subway franchises and you're like super successful, you don't need to worry about life anymore. Dude, we don't even know how much they have invested, how long it took them for them to be able to get there, right?
Totally. And I got a great resource for you guys. There's this book called The Compound Effect. Also, very similar book to The Slight Edge. I'd recommend reading both of them. But yeah, it's basically about this concept that we're talking about right now, which is when you start, it doesn't seem like you're making any progress. Everyone thinks that success is this linear line that just goes straight up, but really it's more of a flat line in the beginning, and then it slowly ramps up, and the compound interest effect comes in, and then all of a sudden, within the last 10% of that whole curve, it's just boom. That's where 90% of the action has come.
That's hockey stick, eh?
The real hockey stick. But
That's
everyone
right.
gives up in that initial bit where the line is still flat and they say, I'm not making any progress. And they give up right before they start to hit that upward curve, not knowing that that's where everything is going to come in that last little bit. And it's such a powerful thing. Totally recommend that book. Those two are The Slight Edge and The Compound Effect. Great books.
Awesome. So yeah, you know what? That's enough about me. I'm definitely gonna share a lot more about like how this whole month has been later on. So a little reminder, the show notes can be found at actualizefreedom.com/9. That's where we're going to be sharing a lot of resources, which Danny talked about, the books, and also the show notes would be there for you.
Heck yeah, guys. And also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher, whatever fancy app you got going on these days. Go in there and give us a subscribe. We're going to be coming out with weekly episodes. The next one is going to be the same one for me. It's my turn to run the gauntlet and give you my story of how I got started on Amazon. I have some pretty tough things that I went through when I got started within the first year. So we're going to be diving right into that. So
I heard you got suspended.
Yes.
Tune in,
that
guys.
That was a very expensive and tough mistake.
How expensive? We're talking about 5 figures? 5-6 figures?
Low five figures.
Low five figures. That's, you know what?
Yeah.
Definitely tune in, guys. Leave us a review. Have an awesome day. We'll see you right back here on the next episode.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Actualize Freedom with Wilson and Danny, online at actualizefreedom.com. If you like today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.